Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Minnesota.
It's crazy, but he's more selective the deeper in the count he gets.
And that was one he would like to see again, but probably won't. 3-2.
This is where Miguel Sano, for a young hitter, is so disciplined. Just not chasing out of the zone. We'll see if Nate Jones comes back and challenges him or tries to get him to bite.
A drive to left will tie the game.
Oh, that's the one he was looking for, and hung again.
Sano provides the jolt, his 14th home run of the year.
Sano's home run in the 7th inning last night tied the game on the way to an 8-6 Minnesota win. It kicked off September the way he had left off in August. He was named the American League's Rookie of the Month for the month of August. 9 homers, 26 RBI in 27 games. He's already added another long ball in September. With Minnesota's win last night, they remain in the hunt. Our DirecTV wild card standings show you that Minnesota is a game back of the Rangers in the battle for the final playoff spot in the American League. 2 in front of the Angels, 2.5 in front of the Rays. And now tonight, the focus is on the White Sox. Second game of a 3-game series between the Twins and the Sox. Minnesota has won 10 of the first 14 meetings this year. Carlos Rodon will go for the Sox. He's been very good lately, a 1.61 ERA in his last 4 starts. And on the other side, Tommy Milone for Minnesota, 6-4 on the season. Welcome to Target Field with Roy Smalley. I'm Anthony LaPanta. All the attention surrounding the Twins right now is on Miguel Sano. 14 home runs in his first 50 games as a big leaguer. No part of the rise to the major leagues seems to have fazed this young man.
No, and there he has 4 or 5 specific attributes, I think, that project him as a superstar, and he's behaving like a superstar right now. The first of those attributes, he has tremendous strength. We've seen him hit the ball in second and third decks in ballparks, but even more impressive than that, he's gone out off the end of the bat. He's gone out when he's gotten jammed. He has tremendous strength, but also with that strength, solid hitting mechanics. He stays inside the ball very, very well, and he's able to translate that strength into really good mechanics. Third, he's got supreme confidence, and because he believes he was born to hit, he's energized by big moments. He believes that he lives to punish baseballs, and it doesn't matter where or why he's doing it. And he also has a high hitting IQ. He can figure pitchers. He knows what they're trying to do. Jack Morris said he's so selective. The reason he is because he knows what pitchers are trying to do, and then when he gets the one he's looking for, he punishes the baseball, hitting at an over 500 clip when he puts the ball in play. One of the most exciting young hitters that I have ever seen come into this league. Really, really fun to watch.
Going all the way back to 1982 when the Twins had rookies named Herbeck, Gaetti, and Bernansky. They've had one rookie since then that's hit more home runs in a season than Sano has already hit in just 50 games this year. Coming up next, a couple of other young hitters who have been a big part of Minnesota's resurgence in the wild card race. Eddie Rosario and Eduardo Escobar. Dick Kramer and Jack Morris are up next.
Twins hope to continue their mastery over the Chicago White Sox and take care of the White Sox in Game 2, win the series early. Eddie Rosario in the lineup, just 23 years of age. Eduardo Escobar, the shortstop, just 26 years old, as the young class of Minnesota Twins hopes to make it to the postseason. Dick Bramer and Jack Morris with you for Game 2 of this series. You tend to forget that Eddie Rosario is just 23, and when the Twins got Eduardo Escobar, he was just 23 years old. It's more than Sano, it's more than Buxton. Suddenly the regular players are displaying a lot of youth.
Well, it's amazing because I think the Twins players look at Eduardo Escobar as kind of their rabbit's foot. He's their good luck charm. Everybody loves this guy, and when he's going good, he can be a motivating kind of guy. He's got a lot of excitement. He's been really hitting the ball well the last couple weeks, and he's kind of charged up this ball club. It's just fun to watch Eduardo Escobar run around the bases. He's been hitting singles, doubles, and a few home runs. Eddie Rosario, on the other hand, a younger guy, but he is showing his confidence. He has a longer swing, but he seems to keep that bat in the strike zone for quite some time, puts the ball in play a lot. He's got great baseball instincts on the base pass and a tremendous arm with the assists that he's got this year. He's showing that he is going to be a force to be reckoned with for a long time.
And the Twins will face another left-hander, Carlos Rodon, going for the Chicago White Sox. Tommy Milone has beaten the White Sox twice this year. He hopes to make it 3 wins over Chicago when we come back. Cooler. It's a gorgeous late summer day for baseball. And Robin Ventura's had a very difficult time with the Minnesota Twins this year. A number of games like the one last night where the White Sox were in position to win late, but the Twins got some key hits. The White Sox made some key mistakes. Here's the Menards batting order for Game 2. Tyler Saladino moving over to short and into the leadoff spot. Then Melky Cabrera, Jose Abreu, Avisail Garcia, Trace Thompson, Giovanni Soto, Carlos Sanchez, Tyler Flowers, and Gordon Beckham.
They're going to be facing left-hander Tommy Milone. He's making his 18th start. He took a loss his last time out and has failed to reach gone through 6 innings in his last 3 consecutive starts. But he's won 5 of 6 here at Target Field, and he's faced the Sox 3 times in one of his previous 2 matchups. So Tommy looking for his 7th win of the year.
First pitch up high to Saladino, and now on the corner, 1-1. Malone got his first win this year for the Twins. His and the team's first win in that week-long road trip that started the year. Twins were swept in Detroit. The ball hit to left. And retreating is Rosario for the catch one away. The only ball game the Twins won on that road trip was a brilliant outing by Tommy Milone. 7 2/3 innings, did not give up a run. Northland Ford defense for the Twins. It's Rosario in left, Buxton in center, Hunter at right. Blue, Escobar, Dozier, Mauer the infielders, and Suzuki behind the plate. One down quickly. Here's Melky Cabrera. And Cabrera takes a strike.
We talked about Tommy Milone and the fact that he's got to work ahead. He's the kind of guy that's basically a finesse pitcher, but he needs to throw fastballs to get ahead, I think. And you know, miss bats, he's going to get a few of those kind of line drives at people, and that'll work. A couple pitches, couple outs.
Well, the White Sox playing Pepper with Rosario, 2 down, and now Jose Abreu. We've seen from Milone since the All-Star break in particular difficulty in the very first inning, and then after that, provided he can keep a crooked number from going up on the board, he generally settles down. So here he's got a couple of quick outs on just 5 pitches, and now Abreu with the bases empty. Fouled back, a strike.
I think just like almost every starting pitcher, it takes a couple innings sometimes to settle in, and Tommy's no exception to that. He's got to get a feel for it out there, and once he does, he seems to keep the ball down in the zone better, especially with his breaking ball and off-speed pitch.
Missed the inside corner, 1-1.
One thing he has going for him is he's worked a lot with Kurt Suzuki. Even when they were both teammates out in Oakland, they were battery mates, so they know each other well.
Driven foul. 1-2. Abreu, the first baseman tonight, was the designated hitter last night. See if Milone could get the Twins off the field in 9 pitches. Absolutely. Good first inning for Milone with the White Sox going down 1-2-3. Win. When you're dealing with a lot of young players and the air is leaving the balloon, it's kind of hard to reinflate it, if that makes any sense. This is not what is happening here. This Twins team has reemerged as a contender. Here's the Menards batting order for game 2 of the White Sox. Brian Dozier, Joe Mauer, Trevor Blue, Miguel Sano, Torrey Hunter, Eddie Rosario, Eduardo Escobar, Kurt Suzuki, and Byron Buxton.
Twins will be facing the left-hander Carlos Rodon. He's making his 20th start. He went 1-1 in his last 4 starts with a 1.61 ERA. He's got good stuff. Interesting, though, a story I heard about him today. He doesn't, like most pitchers, almost every starting pitcher, he doesn't go over the opposition's batting order with the catcher or a pitching coach before a game. He doesn't believe in that.
Just wants to pitch his game, I guess.
I think he pitches to whatever the catcher calls. Might be a lot like
Mark Burley.
Mark Burley, yeah.
1-0 to Brian Dozier. Delivered a big 2-run double in the ball game. There's Don Cooper, the pitching coach. Fouled back 1-1. Pitch up out of the strike zone, but we've seen Brian do a lot of damage with those pitches.
It looks like he kind of slipped a little bit there. He was trying to get the top hand down on the ball.
One and one. And fouled back. Twins have just a handful of at-bats against Rodon. Wasn't with them early in the season when the bulk of the games were played between these two teams. Total of 8 at-bats against the lefty. Popped up. And Flowers near the on-deck circle. Makes the catch, 1 away. And that'll bring up Mauer. Northland Ford defense for the White Sox. Boy, they had some issues yesterday late in the game, didn't they? Melky Cabrera in left. Trace Thompson in center. Avisail Garcia in right. Beckham, Saladino, Sanchez, Abreu, Flowers around the mound. Alexei Ramirez getting the night off. Couple of lefties in there against Rodon. The two you'd expect, Mauer and Rosario. Rosario hitting 6th in the lineup tonight. And a belt high strike.
Well, Joe Mauer talked about it himself, that he was going to be patient and see if Rodon throws strikes or not with all his pitches.
One and one. Rodon, the 3rd overall pick in the draft last summer. The Twins, picking 2 spots later, got shortstop Nick Gordon, the son of Tom Gordon, the brother of Dee Gordon. And Nick Gordon spent the summer in Cedar Rapids. Got off to a slow start, but has put together a very solid first full professional season. The White Sox had a poorer record the year before and ended up drafting 3rd and got a big left-hander. They are, the White Sox, a very left-handed rotation. Danks. This one a tapped foul.
Well, I believe the last time Joe Mauer saw Rodon, he was pitching on the bullpen. He has only had 1 at bat. He's 1 for 1. So Joe's batting 1,000 in a very, very small sample size.
2-2 to Mauer. Jose Quintana, another left-hander in the rotation. This one bounced to the left side, dug out by Beckham, and he throws across, 2 down. Didn't do too well in July, but he had a really good month of August, so we'll see what happens here in September.
Yeah,
the last 4 starts awfully good.
Very good. He is 2-1, a very good ERA, and good strikeout walk ratio. Mentioned his slider is really his go-to pitch, his strikeout pitch, his swing and miss pitch. Very good example of all that. With those throwback ugly uniforms, I think most hitters couldn't see the ball.
Here's Trevor Plouffe. And down and in, ball 1.
It's funny to see those again. I pitched a whole season having to look at those crazy looking uniforms.
You never did pitch to the White Sox when they were wearing shorts, though, did you?
I think that was the year before I got called.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but to see Kittle and Lazinski and LaFleur in shorts, that would have been a real treat.
2-0 to Plouffe. And a strike. Rodon, one of the big stories in spring training. The White Sox didn't bring him north. And then did let him pitch out of the bullpen, but now he's in the rotation. So the White Sox, I think it's fair to say, are about as left-handed in the rotation right now as the Twins are right-handed. 3-2 with Sano on deck. Now this is where things might change for whoever's hitting 3rd in the Twins lineup. A situation like this might be guaranteed of getting a fastball. Well, that was a slider.
Breaking ball, yeah.
But I think the point is that Rodon wants to get Plouffe here and not face the guy on deck.
Well, they've already had a good sample of Miguel Sano, and the league, the word around the league is getting out there. It's going to happen when you have young guys play like that.
Big pop-up right side of the infield. Abreu calling for it. And he makes the catch, and each starting pitcher has a quick 1-2-3 inning.
State Fair with the Minnesota Lynx. The big guns are here representing the Lynx. Maya Moore, Simone Augustus. They also have jerseys. They can answer your ticket questions or playoff questions if you have them. And why not have a permanent memento of your visit here? A picture with a Minnesotan. What's up, Way?
Thanks, Barney. Spending a lot of good times at the Minnesota State Fair. Tommy Malone getting ready to pitch to Avisail Garcia. A big home run last night. Turned a 1-run deficit to the White Sox into a 1-run lead. It didn't last long, but it was his 12th home run of the year. Garcia, then Trace Thompson, Giovanni Soto. Way out in front of the changeup, 1-1.
Well, already Tommy Malone pulling the string in those fastball counts. That's what he has to do. He has to try to get the hitters to be looking for one and throw the other. Got in on a fastball there.
Barehanded by Plouffe. Fires across, gets him. Good play by Trevor Plouffe. Garcia runs pretty well, and even though he got jammed, he got down the line pretty quickly.
Well, it was an excellent pitch and an excellent play right there. Tommy Malone, he threw a changeup the first pitch, then he throws the fastball that jammed Garcia, and Trevor was on top of his game, barehanding it. Has to make a perfect throw, and he does just that.
Yeah, without barehanding it, he probably doesn't get Garcia, who got down the line in good shape.
This is in real time here. See the big man moving pretty well.
One down. Here's Trace Thompson, and there's strike one. Trevor has tightened up this part of his game so well over the years. One of the steadiest third basemen in the league. His throws, now that was a difficult throw, but we saw as he was transitioning to third base, a lot of routine throws would sail and get away from him, and he's really done a nice job improving his defense.
No question about it. A few years ago, a shortstop that couldn't hold down that position, they moved him to third, and he fought that a little bit for a while, but worked hard. Trevor's really worked hard at third base. Takes ground balls almost every day, and has certainly improved, and he's really become an accurate thrower from third base.
This one punched to right center field. A lot of air time for Buxton. 2 down. 5 up, 5 down for Malone. You can visit Fox Sports North at the Minnesota State Fair now through Labor Day. Find them at 1311 Underwood Street across from the Ballpark Cafe. Watch the Twins take on the White Sox on their big screen TV beginning at 11:30 a.m. You can get your photo taken in the free photo booth, plus receive a commemorative frame for your 2015 Minnesota State Fair photo. Photo booth will be open from noon to 5 daily. For more details, visit foxsportsnorth.com. Click on upcoming events. I found out that, yeah, there are a lot of people out there at the booth watching our telecast, watching tonight. So we want to greet all those folks and remind everybody we are on tomorrow. It was not on one of the any of the preliminary schedules, but we have added the telecast, so we will be on tomorrow at 11:30 from the State Fair or from your living room, wherever you might be watching.
No excuses.
2 down. Here is Soto. 1-1 to the Chicago catcher, or designated hitter in this case tonight. Flowers still doing the catching. 1-2. White Sox seem to be gearing up for Malone's fastball. The problem is he hasn't thrown many of them.
Yeah, and this can work well for Tommy. You know, he can add that fastball later. He's got the changeup working early. And it's funny because he actually jammed Garcia with a fastball, and that doesn't happen when you have a high 80s fastball unless you have a very good off-speed pitch.
2-2 to Soto. Popped up. Your second base, Dozier, with the catch. If you have to go someplace, go. Hurry up and come back. Miguel Sano is going to lead off the bottom of the second. You're looking at the American League Rookie of the Month for August, and he got September started off on the right foot last night. He has had a very impactful rookie season, even though he didn't get here till early July.
And those red boxes are his hot zones. That's where he has really put a thumping on the baseball.
Outside, ball 1.
I have to ask you a question, Mr. Bremer.
Yes.
In your career,
here's a drive to center field. Thompson going back. Forget about it.
Well, see, I didn't even have time to ask the question to set you up for what just happened.
And everybody knew it was gone from the moment he made contact. What an extraordinary talent. Miguel Sano puts the Twins up 1-0.
Here, we can still pretend it's going to happen. I was going to ask you, in your extensive career, how many times have you told the listening audience and the viewing audience to hurry up and come back because Miguel Sano's coming up. How many players have you said that?
Yeah.
And they come back and they hit a home run.
I would imagine Herb and Halsey might have done it for Tony and Rod. My goodness. Harmon, of course. Yeah, strike one to Hunter. And there's a buzz here. You can hear it oohing and aahing. A minute and a half after he hit the home run. He is a conversation starter.
What I got a kick out of today is watching Kenny Vargas and Miguel Sano have a long conversation out in short right field during batting practice before either one of them were taking BP today. And I could just imagine what that conversation was about because both of them were smiling and laughing.
Cabrera coming in. He'll make the catch on Hunter's fly ball. One down. Take another look at number 15.
Well, he centered that ball down the middle, and we talked about a 439-foot home run. And this guy doesn't miss the mistakes. That's what makes him unique already. And we usually talk about a veteran player that's had more than 5 years in the big leagues before they get established. And those are the guys that don't ever miss the mistakes. Well, Sano's already shown us that you don't want to make a mistake to him.
Rosario swings through strike one. That ball looked like it hit at least halfway up on the batter's eye in center field, maybe 2/3 of the way up. One strike. And down and away, 1-1.
Rosario again in the lineup against a left-hander, and Paul Maurer has total confidence that doesn't matter righty or lefty. This one fouled back
Over the screen, and it's 1-2. Well, Rosario was held out of the lineup against Chris Sale earlier this year. Paul Molitor put him in last night.
Yep.
And I don't know, maybe not intentionally, but I think Rosario made a point. First pitch from Chris Sale, and he hit a screaming line drive into right field, almost as if to say, don't hold me out against lefties. I want to play. I want to swing the bat. Swing and a miss there for out number 2.
And that's a pitcher's pitch right there. A good location on that slider.
And now Eduardo Escobar. If not for the extraordinary talent and youth of Byron Buxton and Miguel Sano, aged 21 and 22, we would probably be talking about Rosario and Escobar more than we do, because he's been around first with the White Sox, now with the Twins the last 3 years. Tend to forget he's only 26. On the ground, scooped up by Saladino. And the next 3 batters were retired, but on the second pitch of the second inning, Miguel Sano played paddleball with the batter's eye in center field. Sano gives it a ride to left field. Gone! A home run for Miguel Sano. Gone in a moment. Sano can take his time circling the bases. And if you just joined us, he's already got one. A home run to center field to put the Twins up 1-0. And now strike one to Carlos Sanchez. Tyler Flowers and Gordon Beckham will follow.
You know, as we watch Miguel Sano and the joy on his face, the just sheer excitement to play in the big leagues and have the success that he's been having here early in his career, it just puts a smile on everybody's face. You can't help but get excited. But for me to see guys and no hitters that played a whole career and wish for one day that they could have that kind of power and that kind of talent, how much fun could that be?
2 strikes and a ball headed up the middle. It hit the mound, scooped up, but not scooped up cleanly by Escobar, and Sanchez will reach. We'll wait for a ruling. Looked like he might have had a play, but Sanchez runs down the line pretty well. Ball had a lot of topspin on it. It looked like it rolled. Well, no.
Just never really got in the glove.
Yeah. We've had, what, 6 no-hitters since June 1st this year, and the official scorer's rule of thumb is the first hit has to be a clean hit. So we'll see whether that's ruled a hit or an error. And it is an error charged to Escobar, and Tyler Flowers will bat. Strike one. Malone, who's retired the first 6 batters, now has to pitch from the stretch.
He's had several fly balls. He needs a ground ball in this situation. Flowers does not run well.
Inside, nearly hit him. 1-1. Flowers with some power. Much of an offensive player, but the White Sox pitchers love pitching to him. Missed the inside corner, 2-1.
And here's where Tommy really has to go ahead and challenge the hitter. He obviously has to pitch to corners. He can't throw the ball over the heart of the plate, but he also cannot afford to get behind hitters.
Runner goes and the pitch hit hard to center. Buxton is over to make the catch. Out number 2. Another fly ball out. Out number 1, rather, I should say. And tonight's Coors Timeless Moment take you back to this night in 1990. Dave Stieb pitches the Major League record 9th no-hitter of the season, beating the Indians. Previously, the Blue Jays right-hander had lost 3 no-hit bids after 2 outs are recorded in the 9th inning. And he finally got one on this date in 1990.
Yeah, you think about that. Had he got all 4 of those, 4 no-hitters might be, for a guy like him, might be Hall of Fame stuff.
He was, I thought, at the time, possessed maybe the nastiest slider.
Best slider maybe I've ever seen.
And he carved up American League hitters, and the Twins had one guy that absolutely owned Dave Stieb. A diminutive little shortstop by the name of Houston Jimenez. And Dave Stieb, and Jimenez was about a .215 hitter. Dave Stieb could not get.
Today he would be like a .190 hitter.
1-0. But Stieb couldn't get him out. And Jimenez was Altuve-like in terms of height. And he'd rattle balls off the fence and the plexiglass at the Metrodome. And I can still see Stieb behind the mound bouncing the ball off the artificial turf in frustration. 1-0. How many can they get? They get the lead runner, and that's all that hopefully will matter.
Again, Escobar had a little trouble getting the ball out of his glove there, but they did get the lead runner and record the second out.
2 down, a runner at first.
See, Eduardo gets over, plants his feet, and then he's just trying to find that ball. Kind of a Double hitch there, gets it over to Dozier, but Dozier wisely has no play to first.
Tyler Saladino will bat, the base runner on board because of an Escobar error. And foul over the Twins dugout, 1 strike. It's a Twins team that's hoping to pick up win number 69 this year. They won only 70 all of last year. One point last year, the Twins were 68-91. Right now, they're 68-63. Missed the inside corner. He's tried to hit that corner to a right-handed batter 3 or 4 times and missed every time. But I guess if you're going to miss,
yeah, it still serves a purpose. He gets him to move a little bit, makes him aware. He's putting a subliminal message. Did I say that right?
Pretty close.
Pretty close. We don't have to say it again. He's sending a message that he's going to come inside.
And a base hit to right. Beckham to second. And he'll hold up there. So now the White Sox trying to take advantage of the extra out here in the 3rd inning. The tying run at second, 2 down for Melky Cabrera. Time now for you to tweet your strongest fan photo. Use hashtag NorthDataStrongFan and you might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast. We've seen so many great photos this baseball season. Brought to you by T-Mobile. Cabrera with a liner to left his first time up. Trying to pitch 3 scoreless innings, protecting a 1-run lead.
This could be a tough out. Melky Cabrera does a very good job of putting the bat on the ball most of the time.
Just 1 for 9 though against Malone, and there's a pitch low, ball 1.
Melky really more of a fastball hitter, and Tommy has had success because of his off-speed stuff. Probably frustrates Melky a lot like your guy did Dave Steve.
Well, I guess maybe that just underscored my point. You'd never heard of Houston Jimenez, had you?
I had not.
I'm sure you
obviously
pitched to him.
Obviously, I had no problem with him.
You and pretty much anybody else. He was a great defensive shortstop. I think Tony Oliva discovered him when Tony was managing in Mexico in the Mexican leagues years ago. 2-0. Malone trying to pitch out of an emerging mess here, and this ball driven foul.
I'll admit this though, since we're talking about him, I think of all the guys in the big leagues today, I'd have the toughest time with would be Jose Altuve.
Oh, is that right?
Well, his strike zone's about the size of the baseball, and you know it's hard to locate all the time tough pitches when you have a small strike zone.
Altuve 3rd in the league in hitting at .318.
He can flat out hit. He'd be a tough
with power.
Yeah.
2-1. And a called strike, and Cabrera didn't like it. Up here, it looked like it was outside. Some issues ongoing throughout the game last night. Let's check out Fox Tracks. The pitch looked like it was off the plate, and it was, but it was called a strike, 2-2.
Suzuki did a nice job of framing that pitch.
And it's lifted to right. Hunter back. End of inning. An error, a base hit. No damage done. Still 1-0. by Century Link, your link to what's next. By NorthlandFord.com and your local Northland Ford dealer. And by Grand Casino. The best stories start here. Tommy Malone pitched out of a little bit of a situation in the top of the third. He and the Twins still have a 1-0 lead. Kurt Suzuki will lead off the bottom of the third. The one put on the board by a Miguel Sano home run. And it'll be Suzuki, Buxton, and Dozier.
Kurt had a nice night last night. He had a great bunt. Classic way to go about bunting. He got that bat out in front of the plate, laid down a perfect bunt. The pitcher at the time who ended up suffering the loss in that game, Zach Duke, couldn't field it right, threw it away. And Suzuki ended up getting the hit.
Batting average coming up, and we all have maybe been guilty of talking about Suzuki and the steep drop off from his year a year ago. Now that some of it is fair because he had a career year at the plate last year. He had 288, drove in 61 runs, had driven in as many as 88 with Oakland years before, but he came into this season a 257 career batter, and now his season average isn't too far away from that. Here's a drive to left, and Cabrera going back, and a leaping catch in front of the fence. Nice play by Melky Cabrera on Suzuki's drive to the left field warning track.
Kurt made great contact there, drove the ball almost out of the ballpark, squared it up nicely. It took a great effort by Cabrera to corral this ball.
And one down. First man in the third is gone, and now Byron Buxton. Buxton's batting average down to 200. A meeting on the mound. Flowers talking with Rodon. Buxton's batting average was, I believe, up in the 250 range just about a week ago, but it's been a tough go for the rookie, and he takes strike one.
Byron almost daily comes out early and bunts about 20 to 30 baseballs, both down the left field line, the right field line. Most of them are just sacrifice type bunts. I know Paul wants him to be able to execute the bunt when called upon, and he's got the leg speed to certainly get several hits by drag bunting.
And foul tip caught. Strike three, 5 in a row. Now sent down by Carlos Rodon. Let's find Kevin Gordon someplace.
Yeah, guys, interesting to hear Tom Bernanski's thoughts on these young players going through a chase to make the playoffs for the very first time. He said there's no doubt you can't mimic it anywhere, not spring training, not during the regular season. When these games matter and you're in the final month, you really get a taste of what it's all about. He said the excitement level when you come to the ballpark, the learning experience these guys are going through, it certainly reminded him of what he went through with guys like Ken Herbeck and Gary Gaddy, as you mentioned earlier, back in the early 80s. There was some heartbreak involved for certain, but it paid off in '87 when they won that World Series. And think of the young players on this roster right now. Numerous players getting big-time experience at crunch time in that final month. Let's hope it pays off years down the road, or even later this year with a World Series for some of these young players, just like Bernanski, Gaetti, Herbeck, and so many players that cut their teeth in those early 80s.
Chopper left side. Beckham has it, and he fires across. And Rodon has a 1-2-3 third inning. Where Toyota takes you. Test drive one at your Toyota dealer. Toyota, let's go places. By Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, for the everyday competitor in all of us. And by McDonald's, with $1.69 iced coffees and 69-cent vanilla cones, you can get totes, treats, excited all summer long at McDonald's. A Miguel Sano home run, the only run of the game so far. We head to the fourth. Tommy Milone's given up one hit. Jose Abreu takes a strike on the outside corner. One strike to Abreu, and then Garcia and Thompson here in the Chicago fourth.
Malone got Abreu swinging out of the zone. His first plate appearance in the first inning.
And he's ahead of him now, 0-2. The White Sox started the night 6.5 games behind the Twins in the standings, and that margin can be fully explained by simply looking at the season series. The Twins are 10-4 against the White Sox, having lost 2 of the first 3 games in Chicago the first week of the year. 1-2 for Malone to Abreu. And Malone snags the liner. Picked it right off his right hip.
What would Burt be saying there?
Burr would say it's an ugly finder, right?
I don't know. Found a glove. I don't know if the glove's ugly. Ugly finders usually find a part of your body.
Malone hung on to it for the first out. Had he not been able to catch that ball, you could see Dozier was lined up directly behind the second base bag. Abreu would have been retired almost certainly anyway, but a nice play by Malone. 1 down, and here's Garcia. Ball 1.
I can speak from experience. Those balls sometimes come at you, though they're almost hit like changeups are thrown, and you think it's a 100-mile-an-hour fastball, and you're waiting and kind of moving all around trying to catch the ball. Hadn't even got there yet.
And a strike called, 1-1. And Garcia perplexed. Swing and a miss and an off-speed pitch.
Right now, both Suzuki and Malone are working well together and kind of preying off the aggression of the White Sox hitters. These guys are swinging out of the zone a little bit, and that's really going to help Tommy Malone, because that's his game. If he can get him chasing out of the zone, that's what he wants him to do.
Breaking ball in the dirt, taken for ball 2. .46 pitches, 31 strikes. Would love it if Malone could do what Tyler Duffy did last night, only deeper into the ball game. He was getting an out per batter faced until there were 2 down in the 5th. 2-2, and a strikeout. Suzuki will throw to first.
Another pitch that Garcia chased out of the zone. Only the second strikeout of the game, but Tommy Malone has got several outs now where the White Sox are not in the strike zone.
After all the years, principally for the White Sox, of seeing Mark Burley do that to Twins hitters, then I don't mind the White Sox getting a little taste of their own medicine here, because Tommy Malone essentially is the same type of pitcher that Mark Burley has been for, what, 14 years.
It's a pace of game.
Yeah, that's true. We'd be in the 6th inning already by now.
And Burley never shakes because he has the catcher call every pitch. Never shakes.
Were you a shaker?
Absolutely. You think I'm going to let a catcher decide my fate?
All right, in your most famous game, 91, you're Brian Carper's calling the game. How many times do you think you shook him off?
Not very many. That game we were on the same page. And that's the beauty of, pitchers and catchers. When you're thinking a lot alike, and, catchers can really give a pitcher confidence. Just little fist pumps and you see them kind of shake their glove trying to keep it down, make them chase it. Little things like that can really help a pitcher.
Outside 1-2.
You know that they're with you. They're really, truly your battery man.
One and two. Foul back. I haven't met a catcher worth his salt yet who isn't who doesn't review how the game went behind the plate more than what they did at the plate. I mean, catchers, good ones, take that very, very seriously. That's one of the reasons the Flowers is so valued. He's not much of an offensive player. And a called third strike. And it sure looks like Lance Barrett's got a generous outside corner. Miguel Sano's going to hit. Hurry up, go. And hurry up and come back.
I couldn't see anything out of the windup that way, but
a special offer, including a reserve seat for the game on Friday, October 2nd, when the Twins take on the Royals, and your very own limited edition Minnesota Twins Zubas. Take advantage of the special offer available exclusively by logging on to twinsbaseball.com/Zubas. Joe Mauer will lead things off in the fourth. Rodon has thrown 36 pitches, every last one of them from the full windup. Twins scored when Sano clobbered a home run in the second inning. Up and away. Nope. Beg your pardon. Strike one.
Yeah, only 2 hits in this ball game. Hasn't been a lot of offense so far.
One and one.
How many changes have they done to right-handers?
Joe against lefties this year hitting .278. That's better than his average against righties. 2-1. Rodon has had some control issues. 61 walks and 112 2/3 innings coming into the game. He's yet to walk anybody. I'm not sure he's had a 3-ball count. Checked his swing, but he went, and it's 2-2. A chopper foul.
Interesting, we were talking about catchers and their value to the pitching staff, and it seems like more and more the offensive aspect of a catcher is not priority anymore. The catchers around baseball, I mean, there's a couple of them that are great offensive players, but there's a lot that are not, and yet they're in the big leagues and they have extended careers in the big leagues because of their defensive abilities and game calling ability.
3-2 to Mauer, leading off the bottom of the 4th inning. Just missed a breaking ball. He tried to break over the inside corner, and Mauer will take the leadoff walk. And for the first time tonight, Rodon will have to pitch from the stretch.
I think Rodon thought he might have had that. That's the front door breaking ball where it starts at the hitter and he tries to catch the inside part, but it looked to me like that ball went around the plate.
Verplouf hitting .239 against lefties. There's 24 strikeouts and 139 at bats against lefties. Up the middle, and that'll skip through. Bauer will hold up at second base. So the Twins backing up a walk to Mauer. Plouffe bounces a single up, and now there are 2 men aboard for Miguel Sano. His last 3 games, he has put on a power display.
Well, that was here at home against Houston last night. Rushed the ball to tie the ball game. Huge hit at the time, not only physically but for the team's spirits. And there's his home run tonight, straightaway center field off the batter's eye.
See what he can get done here with 2 men on, nobody out. It's not just the home runs, of course. It's the singles he's gotten, the doubles he's gotten. Hitting .290 against left-handed pitching. His home run in the 2nd inning is 3rd against a lefty. Ball 1. And we've talked about it, his ability. He's a strikeout guy, but his ability to stay in the strike zone, and we've seen the damage he can do if he simply swings at strikes.
Well, the word's going to get out, and it already probably has gotten out, and of course every pitcher is going to say, well, I haven't faced him yet. So until everybody faces him, they're all going to think that they can get him out. That's the nature of egos at the big league level. But we look at the hot zones again for the home runs for Miguel. Right down the middle is a pretty good spot for him to hit home runs. My point being, pitchers are going to start being very, very picky with him. They're not going to give him a lot to hit, and it's going to come to a point where they're just going to say, you know what, you're better off clogging up the bases, which he runs fairly well, even though he's got a hammy right now injury. But you know, they're gonna just say, you know, it's okay to walk this guy. Now certainly they don't want to walk him with 2 runners on right now, but with bases empty, they'd probably pitch around him a little.
90-mile-per-hour slider. He swung and missed at the 89-mile-per-hour slider. That's a 90-mile-per-hour quick breaker, and he got a piece of it to stay alive. That's what makes Rodon so intriguing for the White Sox. They really think he's got the stuff, along with Chris Sale, to give the White Sox a couple of dominant power lefties.
Well, he's got a different slider than Sale. Sale's is a big sweeping slider, and it comes at you from second base. Rodon's a more traditional slider, that real quick down and break.
Chop to the right side, and they'll get the double play because Sano can't run. Smart play by the first baseman Abreu, who was able to get the lead runner, knowing that even if he didn't, they would get the out at first. Sano just gingerly trotting down the first baseline, 2 away.
Here's the pitch by pitch in this last at bat. First ball down in the zone, then they tried to backdoor a breaking ball that they got over for a strike. Then this slider, the good one, down and in. He swings over top, another one down and in, and this one he got the bat out, tried the inside out the swing, but just could not put anything on it. And you almost feel sorry for him for not being able to run at all. He's just basically jogging. He just shuts it down there because he doesn't want to hurt that hand any worse than it is.
So 2 down, a runner at third, a potentially huge double play grounder for Rodon, and now Hunter. Twins need Torrey to pick it up, and Torrey's trying everything to try to rediscover the stroke. Hit a fly ball to left his first time up. a bouncer to third. Two hopper for Beckham. And a high throw. Abreu's able to do some footwork to keep the foot on the bag, and the Twins don't score in the fourth. Sano with t-shirts and jerseys already, and the big man already has a home run. Miguel Sano had an MRI in his right hamstring today and still in the lineup, sitting next to Kenny Vargas.
That's a whole lot of thunder right there. That's an offensive line.
If the situation was different, if say we were in June or July, if the Twins were in September in a situation where the Kansas City Royals are, where they pretty much already clinched a playoff spot, well, then you can imagine Sano might be DL'd, shut him down, let it heal up, ready to go. The Twins don't have that luxury. It's early September, and right now they're out of the playoffs. 2 strikes. And now 1-2. You do what you have to do this time of year, and if you have aches and pains, as everybody does this time of the year, you do what you can to try to stay on the field and play through it. The Twins a game behind the Rangers. The Rangers will play in San Diego again tonight. Swing and a miss.
Another great location of that changeup. Down and off the plate a little bit. Tommy Milone picking up his 4th strikeout. And that's where you want to throw a changeup. Down and away.
Here's Sanchez, hit a ground ball, headed up the middle. Escobar cut it off but juggled it. Sanchez reached with a leadoff error in the 3rd. Ball hit over Plouffe down the line, a base hit. Sanchez has had some success against Tommy Milone. He gets another base hit. Sanchez now 4 for 7 against Tommy Milone. A 1-out single here in the 5th.
Sanchez has the highest batting average of any of the White Sox hitters off of Milone.
And now Tyler Flowers had a liner to Buxton his first time up. Missing inside. Ball 1.
Milone has been pitching Flowers inside. He just wants to get him to commit on the inner part of the plate, and maybe so that he can get the outside corner when he gets ahead, but he just hasn't been able to throw that inside fastball to Flowers on the plate.
1-0.
Coming back in again with this pitch.
That time he hit the corner.
There's a fine line for Tommy Milone, and it's no more than a baseball's width of the plate on either side. And a lot of guys, when you're throwing in the high 90s, you get a third of the plate on either side. Here comes the changeup.
He missed inside. 2-1. Each team with 2 hits. Twins have one of them hit over the fence, that by Sano. Flowers, the number 8 batter. White Sox 52 steals, 34 tries. Sanchez has become their everyday second baseman, just 1 for 2. Alexei Ramirez is 15. Adam Eaton has only 13 stolen bases. Those are the leaders on this Chicago team. Double play grounder. Escobar, he'll go to the bag himself and throw off target. Dozier was there waiting for him, but Escobar thought he had an opportunity to get the double play himself. And I'm not sure even an on-target throw would have gotten Flowers at first. That should have been 2, but it's only 1.
And you wonder why, when Dozier's kind of already there, why he would do this. He thought probably that Flowers was going to take a lot more time, and I also believe that he thought he was a lot closer to second base than he actually was. A good throw would have still doubled him off. But you see that he ran into a bit of trouble there.
Yes, he did. It's a good way to describe it, too. Here's Beckham. And there's a strike at the knees. No error on the play. You can't assume a double play, although you should be able to from time to time. And that was more a mental mistake than anything else.
Absolutely.
One strike rather to Beckham with 2 gone and a runner at first. Second inning out of the last 3 now, where Malone's been asked to get an extra out. Beckham with a good hot streak here to get his batting average over 200. Reached on a fielder's choice his last time up. 1-1. Swing and a miss with a very well spotted changeup again.
Yeah, that changeup had some sink to it. See if he doubles up with that pitch or throws him the breaking ball. You don't really want to throw him a fastball in this count. I think that's what he's looking for. But he did.
Up and in. 2-2. '66th pitch for Malone. He's trying to wrap up his 5th shutout inning. Roller to short. Escobar being kept busy. Now the flip to Dozier, and that ends the 5th. Good night for Tommy Malone with 5 shutout innings.
middle of the Minnesota State Lottery winner's circle, which means 100 scratch-off tickets. What a great birthday gift. Lori up from Rochester. Hey, what a beautiful night.
It's beautiful.
Twins are winning, and how about that home run by Miguel Sano?
I knew he was going to do it. I predicted when he came up to bat. I said, you're going to do it for my birthday, and he did. He pulled it off.
Did you predict you'd be getting circled by a guy that won Game 7 of the World Series in 1991?
Well, that's always good, too. Birch is wonderful, but I love Jack, so anytime, Jack.
We all love Jack. You're getting circled. You're getting 100 scratch-off tickets from Minnesota State Lottery. Since you called the home run, are the Twins going to win this game?
Of course they are. Of course. Yep.
Boys, put it in the bank.
Yes, thank you.
Never argue with somebody on their birthday. Thank you, Kevin. Strike one to Eddie Rosario. Rosario struck out swinging his first time up. Oh, 0-2.
Rodon's pitch count very good shape as he pitches into the bottom half of the 5th inning.
And foul back. Talking with Paul Molitor before the game today about Rosario and using him against lefties. He said, you know, sometimes you watch Rosario a couple of at-bats in a row and he'll pull off the ball and you go, uh-oh, now, you know, we're in trouble. And then he'll stay on the ball in his next 2 at-bats, and as he did the other night, foul tip and strike 3, but the Twins are going to contend that the ball hit the dirt. And I'm going to ask C.B. Buckner to see if he saw the ball fouled off Rosario's bat into the dirt. And there, Paul Molitor said check the baseball. And they will do that to see if they can find a scuff mark. Nothing on the ball.
You'd think that umpire was going to ever admit that there was any scuff mark? Look at the ball clearly hit the dirt.
Sure.
And again, all they have to do is either ask the third base umpire. Of course, as rough a night as Buckner had last night, I'm not sure he can see that far.
If it was foul tipped, it clearly should still be Rosario's at bat. And the foul tip called by the umpire. At any rate, it will go down as Rosario's 2nd straight strikeout. And now Escobar takes up and away.
3rd strikeout now for Rodon.
Anyway, Molitor was saying, and of course, in the middle of the thought, Rosario struck out for the 2nd time, maybe pulling off the ball. But he says what they've seen within games, Rosario will self-correct and have a couple of good at-bats later in the game. We'll see if that's what happens here tonight. 1-1.
It really might be more of an indication that he's looking middle half in and not getting that pitch. So he's kind of stepping to right, looking like he's going to pull the ball. And then once he's behind in the count, he doesn't do that.
Escobar last year stunned a lot of people in baseball with some power. 35 doubles and 433 at-bats. Well, he got his 25th double, 24th and 25th doubles last night. Foul tip. Still 2-2.
Another thing that Carlos Rodon is doing well tonight is taking a little off that breaking ball. He's got that slider up around 90 miles an hour, which is very high for a slider, but he can also throw it off speed.
3-2. Escobar with his 25 doubles on about the same doubles pace he was a year ago. Just doesn't have as many at bats yet.
You know, guy's got confidence. He throws 3-2 breaking ball. That's his pitch. He probably is more confident throwing the slider than he is the fastball. I pitched with a great pitcher, in my opinion, Dan Petrie, for years in Detroit. And his slider, he felt he could throw for strikes better than his own fastball.
Checked his swing, or did he? And
yes,
Escobar will go to first with a walk. Second walk in as many innings for Rodon. That'll bring up Suzuki. This was close. Well, that was a strike to me. What do you think?
I think they ruled it a ball.
Okay.
And he's at first base because of it. Doesn't matter what we think. We figured that out last night.
That's true. Here's Suzuki. Almost hit one off the wall. Almost cleared the wall. Melky Cabrera made a nice catch of his line drive leading off the third inning.
And you get the feeling that this is one of those games that you're just going to have to kind of piece together. Maybe a walk will lead to a little base hit, and somebody can find another gap. Just don't feel like this, the way both pitchers have started this game anyway, that you're going to have any kind of blowout innings.
Twins were trying to build one in the fourth with the walk and the single, but then Rodon got the double play grounder outside. Now 1-1.
Of course, we kind of were saying that last night with Tyler Duffy on the mound. He looked great through 4 innings, and then just couldn't throw a strike in the top half of the 5th inning.
Well, hoping for some more run support. Leading 1-0. Escobar does a lot of things, but he does not run bases, or doesn't steal bases, I should say, particularly well. Just 2 of 5. Team leader in stolen bases for the Twins, Rosario and Dozier, each with 10. Up and in, and it's 2-1. See, Tommy Malone, just the 2 hits, no walks. 2-1 to Suzuki, not yet.
Need a couple hits to wake this crowd up a little bit. Nice crowd here on the middle week here, just before Labor Day.
Checked his swing, and it's 3-1. This time of the year, it's always tough, probably for most teams, but certainly here. Remember the excitement of the '87 pennant race, magic number in single digits going down nightly at the Metrodome. But on school nights, we all remember the capacity crowds in the playoffs and all that, but on school nights, 18,000, 19,000. There's a ball hit up the middle, a base hit. Escobar to second. He'll hold up there. First and second, 1 down. And Suzuki gets a base hit. There'll be 2 on for Buxton. Twins take on the Tigers in mid-September, 14th through the 16th here at Target Field. Tuesday features the U.S. Bank Value Pack. You can purchase a U.S. Bank home run porch view ticket and receive a free Schweigert hot dog and Pepsi. Wednesday is Student Day, presented by Rasmussen College. Standing room tickets just $5 for students, and they include a free ride on Metro Transit. You can call 800-33-TWINS or visit twinsbaseball.com and get your tickets today. Quick trip to the mound for the pitching coach.
And I got to believe that Tom Bernansky, the hitting coach, has been in Byron Buxton's ear telling him, look for the slider, because that's what Rodon is going to here. And he was able to strike him out on the backdoor slider his first at bat. So if I'm Byron Buxton, I'm going to sit on a breaking ball and see if he can get one left out over the plate.
And Hicks will be with the team Friday in Houston. Hicks went 4 for 4 with a home run in Rochester's game tonight. Twins want to see Buxton snap out of it. It's been about a week-long spiral with a lot of strikeouts. And he takes ball 1. That might help. And Rodon goes back to the back of the mound. One and 0. That's hit to right center, but plenty of hang time for Garcia. Second out of the inning, and that'll bring up Dozier. Dozier with a foul out to Flowers and a ground ball to third. His batting average below the season average with runners in scoring position.
Well, Brian walked twice last night and doubled. So he ended up 1 for 3 for the night.
He's looking for a 2-out hit from Dozier. A couple of runners out there, but 2 are down. In the dirt, he's blocked by Flowers. Ball 1.
Rodon hasn't made a lot of mistakes out over the plate tonight.
'64 extra base hits for Brian Dozier. 34 doubles, 4 triples, 26 home runs. Matt Albers warming up. And a drive to center. Thompson going back and makes the catch on the edge of the track. The Twins put 2 aboard and leave them there. Out of the 6th, it's still 1-0. Of the game, enjoying a night at the ballpark, enjoying a Miguel Sano home run and a Twins lead. TC,
they enjoy TC every night.
Oh yeah, yep. It's a 1-0 ball game, moving along very quickly, already into the 6th inning, and it'll be the top of the Chicago lineup. Tyler Saladino, Melky Cabrera, and Jose Abreu. And Malone's done all this, 5 shutout innings on just 66 pitches. Breaking ball spins its way over, strike 1.
Yeah, he's got to work, and that was the big breaking ball. It started outside in the left-hander's batter's box and cut the middle of the plate.
Were you uniform in your between innings warm-up pitches? I mean, did you have a formula? Okay, fastball, splitter, slider, whatever.
I kind of did, yeah. Once in a while, I'd throw a few out of the stretch more than often, but I had a theory about that too. I figured if I practiced out of the stretch, I'd be in the stretch. So I threw most of my warm-ups from a windup.
The reason I asked is we haven't seen that slow breaking ball all that much from Malone here today. Just missed the corner with a fastball. And so he wanted to get strike 1 on Saladino, and maybe Saladino hadn't seen that pitch, but if you're going to do that, if that's your mindset going in, you might spin a couple up there during your warm-up session.
Yeah.
2-2.
Fastball in.
Up and away, but a swing and a miss. 1 down. And now Melky Cabrera.
Number 5 for Tommy Malone. This one he gets Saladino to chase up. And that fastball, again, not overpowering, but when you change eye levels and mix up your pitches and as far as speeds, in and out, up and down, they say.
Here's Melky Cabrera. White Sox have had 1 scoring threat. With 2 down, they had runners at first and second in the 3rd. And Cabrera hit a fly ball to Hunter. 1 strike here on a foul ball. Hit down the line, deep, near the foul pole, and foul. with Rosario covering all the ground on the field, and that stayed in the playing field, he would have caught it.
Yeah, he just ran out of.
You know, I was trying to describe to some people today. I do a weekly show on KFGO and Fargo radio, KFGO radio. And you look at the Twins outfield right now. Buxton, Rosario, there's a swing and a miss. Foul ball, I beg your pardon. You look at the Twins outfield, and line drives are going to land. Okay, you can't do much about that. But on a routine fly ball or something that has any hang time, you tend to think, okay, Buxton can cover that area, Rosario can cover that area, and if Hicks is going to be part of this mix maybe as soon as Friday night, he can cover that area. There's a high fastball, another swing and a miss, another strikeout. You've already got some overlap in the Twins outfield, and it's only going to get more extensive if Hicks joins this group. Fox Sports North is proud to partner with Girls on the Run Twin Cities to empower girls to be healthy and confident. Join us for the Girls on the Run Fall 5K on Saturday, November 14th at Harriet Island Pavilion. To register, visit foxsportsnorth.com. Click on upcoming events.
Well, to your point, Dick, I don't think there's any question that the most improved part of the whole overall thing for the Twins is their outfield defense.
Bray with a single to left with 2 down in the 6th.
And when you start having outfield defense like consistent up the middle defense from short and second base, as a pitcher, you got yourself a good buddy, because outs that can become extended innings are no longer extended innings. They cover the ground, they make the outs they're supposed to, and then they save you a few too.
Here's Garcia, bouncer to third and a strikeout. You know, the forgotten man in all of this was a guy who started in the Twins outfield, Oswaldo Arcia. And Arcia with tremendous slugging potential from the left side of the plate, but defensively not very good. And so Twins fans can't help but wonder whether he even has a future in this organization anymore, at least as an outfielder, perhaps a designated hitter.
Well, we seem to have an excess of those right now. Kenny Vargas got called back up, and you know, he might be the one guy that's going to get a few at bats here in this month if the Twins stay in this hunt.
1-0
as a pinch hitter.
Bouncer left side. Escobar flips to second. You get the force play there. 6 shutout innings for Tommy Malone. Minnesota. Can you enjoy excellent fishing in the fall? With the cooler weather, the fish are more active, the changing leaves add a beautiful backdrop. Fall is prime time for fishing in Minnesota. You can sign up today for weekly fishing updates at exploreminnesota.com. Share and tag your Minnesota fall fishing experiences with hashtag #OnlyNMN, depending on the area, size of the lake. Walleye, muskie, northerns, largemouth bass, crappie, as well as trout in the southeast streams, are all biting in the fall. Joe Mauer will lead off the bottom of the 6th inning.
It's a double curse for me, you know,
because
you want to see meaningful fall baseball.
Yes,
and it's the best time of year for baseball, without a doubt. And yet it is a wonderful time of the year for fishing in Minnesota.
More Plouffe and Sano is thinking today, last few years, I had my hunting vest out already, shotgun cased up in the garage, ready to go. I don't even know where my shotgun is this year. Baseball has been a little bit more. Baseball's been a lot more interesting than it has been the last 4 years. I'll find it and I'll get out and do my bird hunting.
We'll find a way sometime.
Yep. 2 strikes to Mauer. And now a ball. Mauer drew a walk leading off the 4th inning. Plouffe followed with a single in the next pitch, but then Sano bounced into a double play. And Rodon was able to get out of the jam. The only run today on a Sano home run leading off the 2nd. 2-2. Another reminder that tomorrow's the series finale, and in the early TV schedules we were not going to televise the game tomorrow, but we will. Pre-game at 11:30. First pitch a little after noon. And then the Twins go to Houston. Then they go to Kansas City. Then they go to Chicago. Mauer with a jam shot and a swinging bunt. And Rodon fires low. What a pick at first by Jose Abreu. A one-hop throw into the legs of the runner, and Abreu stayed with it.
Yeah, same kind of play last night without the broken bat scenario. And tonight, ball pretty much in the same spot, but Abreu doing a great job of keeping his foot on the bag, getting out of Joe Mauer's way, and catching the baseball.
One down, and now Trevor Plouffe singled up the middle. Trevor's average dipping down in the low 240s, and now a base hit, getting it up to 243. 1 strike. Been a while for Trevor. His last home run at Yankee Stadium on August 17th, and he takes a strike at the knees.
Kind of gave up on that pitch as it was starting its break, thinking maybe it would be off the plate away, and then it came back across the plate, and then he even thought it was low. But when you already given up on it, you're kind of at the mercy of the umpire's call.
One and 2. Got a piece. Tied with Torrey Hunter for second on the team in home runs with 18. Dozier, of course, with 26. Another chopper in front of the third baseman. Beckham had a weird hop that he stayed with it. Snapped his glove up around his waistline and got the high hop and threw Plouffe out 2 down.
Now this is another nice play. Beckham, like you say, that ball came up on him, but his hands came up with the ball. And that made it look a lot easier than it actually was.
Soup.com trivia: who is the only Twins player to be named American League Rookie of the Month twice in a season? What do you remember about Chuck Knobloch's rookie season on your 91 team?
I was going to say it could be him.
How about Dallas Keuchel? He won the Pitcher of the Month for the 3rd time this year.
Yeah, that's all.
Wow.
Let's all tip our hats to him. That's impressive.
1-0 to Sano. Now 2-0. Sano needs to, and he's done a good job of it already, but he needs to be aware of what might be happening here. Torrey Hunter's been struggling. Teams have discovered if you throw this guy a strike, you may pay the consequence. And so he's watched 3 of them. He needs to be willing to take the walk if that's what they're going to give him.
Well, it's not we talked about it earlier. You know, with bases empty, he's not going to get a pitch to hit, although he did right there.
3-0 slider.
Backdoored him, yeah.
3-1. fastball to hit there. 3-2. Home run came to straightaway center field, hitting the batter's eye at least a halfway up the black surface. 3-2 with 2 down. And he'll take his walk. And for Sano, the 34th walk he's taken. And his on-base percentage is already over 400 at game start, and it's going north. As promised earlier in the game, we've selected the Data Strong fan photo of the game. You can tweet your strongest fan photo to hashtag #NorthDataStrongFan for a chance to be featured in an upcoming broadcast. Brought to you by T-Mobile.
Couple knuckleheads behind Larry there.
Larry, you're in rough company there, pal. Hunter wide of third.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see Torrey get himself a hit here. He's just really had a tough couple of weeks. And I know as confident as he is, he's not letting that get to him. He's a pro in all aspects. He's been through these things before, but I think when your age gets up there, I think fans start questioning, you know, what's happening with our beloved Torrey Hunter. And right now, you just want him to get out of it to prove that it's not his age, it's just his slump right now.
1-2. Nearly the solid contact we saw consistently in the first half. Strikeouts are piling up a bit. 90 strikeouts on the season. 424 at bats. 1-2. Poke foul. You know, we were talking about the experience, or Kevin Gorg was, the experience these young guys are getting, and we got a shot of Byron Buxton and Torrey Hunter. You talk about bookends. You know, for Byron Buxton, he'll gain some from the experience of a pennant race. Torrey Hunter needs to win. Torrey Hunter needs to win a World Series. That's why he continues to play inside. So while the experience gained here in September will be great for Sano and Buxton, Rosario, so on and so forth, there's some urgency for Torrey Hunter. He's 40 years old. Chops another one foul.
Well, every time I see the two of them together, I can't help but think of Kirby Puckett as the mentor to Torrey. Passing the baton on now. He's kind of playing the reverse role.
Hasn't homered since August 7th. Next one will be number 350. And a base hit, solidly hit to left. A 2-out single. And that'll send Sano to second. Paul Molitor talked about this situation here. Not so much in the 6th inning, but in the 7th. What do you do with Sano in scoring position? Do you pinch run for him, knowing that if you do it in the 7th, his spot's going to very likely come up again in the 9th?
Well, and you know, I think the game dictates that. I think that's something Paul would say. In one-run games, it's not a secure enough blanket to make you confident to take him out. Well, certainly, with Danny Santana coming up, he's one of the faster Twins players, and he would be the ideal guy to pinch run for Miguel Sano. But you want Miguel up there with the game on the line later on if it's going to be decided by a base hit or whatever.
And of course, it changes too how many outs were in the inning. Sano drew a 2-out walk in the 6th. If it had been a leadoff walk, we'll see what Rosario can do here, knowing that it very likely will take at least a double to score Sano from second base.
That base hit by Torrey Hunter snapped an 0-for-15 streak.
That's down the left field line, foul. Rosario struck out twice, swinging against Rodon. More than held his own. It's with his 0-for-2 tonight against this particular lefty. 1 strike. Now 2 strikes.
Carlos Rodon has pitched a very fine ball game. There it is by inning, total 97. So he's getting closer to the end. His last 2, the pitch counts climbing up a little. He has had a couple walks in those last 2 innings, and that adds to the pitch count.
0-2 to Eddie Rosario. Flowers again with a nice job on a pitch in the dirt.
No activity now in the White Sox bullpen. Here's the last pitch. You see Tyler Flowers. That's why he's catching right now. Great job of getting over, shifting his body, and keeping that chest out in front of the ball.
Way out in front of a 90-mile-per-hour slider. Twins leave 2 more aboard in the 6th. Sano with the biggest swing last night and so far again today.
Another no-doubter that got the crowd excited early in the ball game. He led off the top of the 2nd, and Tommy Milone pitches through the 6th inning for the first time in 4 starts. Doing a great job, finishing very strong top half of the 6th inning with 2 strikeouts that he threw up in the zone and got him to chase.
Trace Thompson will lead off the 7th. Pitch count modest for Milone, just 78, but we are approaching the time of the game when, for one reason or another, Milone is nearing the end of his night's work. He threw just 81 pitches in his last start, 5 1/3 innings in St. Petersburg. He hasn't thrown more than 88 pitches in a start since July 8th here against the Orioles, when he threw 104. 1 strike to Thompson.
Well, just a shot of Neil Allen, and he's got to be pleased. Tommy really hasn't had a lot of high stress at bats this game, and that can help with his command. He's not having to be perfect and fine. He's flipping it up there and changing speeds well.
Back to the mound and an easy play.
Nice change up there. Got him to out front and off the end of the bat.
Fox Sports Supports is proud to team up with Boys and Girls Clubs of America. Boys and Girls Clubs help young people reach their full potential as productive, caring, and responsible citizens through programs that promote character and leadership, education, healthy lifestyles, and more. For more info, visit foxsportsupports.com. 1 down, and now Soto going to pop up to 2nd. Went down swinging in the 5th. On the outside corner. And to be honest, to be fair, Milone has got a home plate umpire that fits right into his game plan, because I think Lance Barrett has been very generous on that outside corner. And it's helped Milone widen the plate.
Well, I agree. I also agree that, or will say this, that veteran pitchers will recognize that early in the game. And if he's going to call it, you're going to throw it there.
Right.
And I saw Tommy John start an inch off the plate and end up getting a foot off the plate.
Having said that, that pitch very near the outside corner, but wasn't called a strike. 2-1. And now a strike, 2-2. Casey Fiend warming up in the Twins pen. Malone trying to finish up 7 shutout innings. Full count. Hasn't walked anybody. 3 singles. That's been it for the White Sox. Also had another base runner on an error. Swing and a miss. He got him. 2 down in the 7th.
Strikeout number 7 for Tommy Milone. And he's just really masterful tonight with his off-speed pitch and his command. And see, pulled the string again. It looks like a 90-mile-an-hour fastball, and it comes in there at about 78. No walks for Tommy tonight. Just 3 hits allowed.
Here's Carlos Sanchez has one of the hits. He was also the guy who reached on the Twins' error. Escobar had a problem fielding a roller back in the 3rd inning. Strike 1 again on the outside corner. Malone has beaten the White Sox twice. And if he can complete the 7th inning here, he will have faced the White Sox for 20 2/3 innings and given up 2 runs. 1-1.
Well, he's definitely dialed in tonight. It'll be interesting, and with as well as he's pitching, and his pitch count's in great shape, whether or not he'll even get a chance if he can get a quick out here going back in the 8th, or if Paul Molitor decides that he's going to try to mix and match with his pen.
Sips a fastball in off the plate at 88. 2-1 to Sanchez.
His high count there, 17 in the 3rd inning, and anytime you're 15 or under, Tommy's been there all night long.
Right to Escobar. 7 brilliant innings by Tommy Milone. The Twins have a 1-0 lead.
For Tommy Malone, 7 shutout innings tonight. His night is done. He leaves with a 1-0 lead as we head to the bottom of the 7th. Eduardo Escobar will lead it off. I had a conversation with Eduardo around the batting cage yesterday about his approach in batting practice preparing for the game, and he said it's very simple. I try to rotate balls left center and right center. I know when I'm at my very best, I'm a doubles hitter. He did mention, though, guys, on that last road trip, the ball was jumping off his bat just one time, and he mentioned to Marty he was going to hit a home run. He wanted to be the post-game guest. Of course, he had 2 home runs that night, but he really does try to go to the gap with the ball. He wants to be a doubles hitter at this level. He believes he can be. Boy, his confidence is high right now.
Well, he's getting a chance to play every day, and he's getting a chance to play his preferred position, shortstop. And he's doing pretty much exactly what he did last year when by default he was the shortstop. The default was in center field. The Twins were having a terrible time in center field, so they took their most athletic shortstop in the system, Danny Santana, and ran him out there. Well, center field's the least of the Twins' concerns now. You've got Hicks and Buxton out there. And Santana's kind of been squeezed out, although he's with the club on a recall basis here in September. Still 1-2.
Look at that right there, a slugging percentage since August 18th. Eduardo Escobar second in all of baseball. And that's some big boppers. Encarnacion, even Sano's behind him.
Up the middle and right over the second base bag. And a sharp single to center for Escobar, leading off the seventh.
104th pitch for Carlos Rodon. See this ball hit right back at his tootsies.
And Rodon will come out of the ball game here. He's got their first look at him as a starter, and he was impressive. Yet he comes off the mound trailing 1-0. Jake Petrichka will pitch next. Really talented left-handed starters. You can follow live Twins baseball every day with MLB.com at bat on your smartphone or tablet. Stay connected to the Twins all season with MLB.tv Game of the Day, in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, and more. Browse the app's new features, including StatCast tracking videos, bilingual access for Spanish-speaking fans. Download MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball. Homecoming of sorts for Jake Petrichka. Had some shoulder issues earlier in the season. Has put together another good year. Or the White Sox rather have very high hopes for Petrichka.
Well, he's used by his manager a lot. You can see this is his 54th game. He'll be facing Kurt Suzuki, and Suzuki's done well, hitting .500, 2 for 4 off Jake.
Just the second time the Twins have gotten a leadoff hit. They took a leadoff walk in the fourth. The only other leadoff hit was Sano's blast in the second. Again, Escobar, not much of a base stealer, a couple of them in 5 tries.
This would be a great inning to add on. Rodon is no longer out there. Twins finally got into the White Sox bullpen. They've got their leadoff man on.
Bunted foul. Suzuki dropped down maybe the best bunt we've seen all year long last night. Rolling it up the third baseline. Saladino, the third baseman last night, retreated to the bag. It was a long run for the pitcher who really didn't have much of a play, and then he augured it into the ground. 1 strike to Suzuki. Buxton on deck. Nobody there.
That'll help. There's
Abreu came in to field a possible bunt, and Flowers threw to an empty base. And Escobar goes to second. The count 1-1 to Suzuki. I don't believe I've ever seen that before.
Well, that's why we come to baseball games. So we see something we haven't seen. I haven't either. I really haven't.
Flowers with no batter in the batter's box, and he just snapped and threw and nearly hit the runner because the first baseman was in on the grass.
Now, I don't know what Abreu was thinking there. There's no way he's thinking that the second baseman's behind him. He's got to make some kind of effort to catch that ball, doesn't he?
Error charge to Flowers. Late errors last night cost the White Sox the ball game. Now Suzuki rolls it through the right side, and Escobar will be held at third. A slow roller between Sanchez and Abreu, and the Twins have runners at first and third. Sanchez's first move. The second baseman was up the middle. He had whatever chance he had of knocking that ball down. The second baseman shifts towards the middle on a ground ball to his left.
What is going on there? I mean, what's he thinking? Maybe that Flowers is going to throw to second base?
Well, here's Buxton, and it's been a struggle for the rookie. And he's up in a key spot here with runners at first and third and nobody out.
Well, Paul Molitor showing him confidence here. This is a situation that, quite honestly, Paul could go to the bench. He could go to Kenny Vargas. There's a lot of guys, Nunez and Robinson.
Shane Robinson for a squeeze if you wanted to go that route. Part of Buxton's problems has been in the bunting department. He's had a couple of awful bunt attempts, and we'll see what happens here. Infield halfway in, up the middle. Swing and a miss. Buxton, in his last plate appearance, lifted a fairly deep fly ball to right. The Twins would love to see him do the same thing here. I think the Twins and Buxton need something good to happen in this at bat. 1 strike. 1-1.
I think Patricia is going to have to do a little better job of coming to a stop in his stretch position. It looked like that could have been called a balk.
See what happens here on 1-1. Breaking ball gets strike 2. A couple of runs batted in for Buxton. 87 at bats. And you get a big runner in from third with nobody out. Twins need contact. And it's a Tapper foul.
Yeah, this is a point in the game that you have to make contact. Preferably lift the ball to one of the outfielders. It can't be a shallow fly ball either, because Escobar's up there. Excuse me, I thought Suzuki was over there, so I got my runners mixed up.
1-2 to Buxton. And that up around his neck. Breaking ball, 2-2. See, a pitcher can smile about a pitch like that. Tommy Malone thinks that's entertaining.
I have a feeling that there was some conversation next to him that had nothing to do with that pitch.
2-2 to Byron Buxton. And now 3-2. Dozier on deck. Petrichka's working the ball around the plate on Buxton, and he hasn't swung and missed at strike 3 yet. Now he's got to One would think anyway, throw him a strike.
That was a good take there. There's no way he was going to be able to do anything with that pitch anyway.
Ball 4, and Buxton fills the bases.
Good at bat for Byron.
They're loaded up. The bottom 3 hitters in the lineup have loaded them up for the top of the lineup.
Take a look at this last at bat. Fastball down in the zone. He swung over the top of. Then another one down in the zone. He throws a slider that Buxton was a little anxious on. That was off the plate. Was able to foul off another fastball down.
Ooh.
That one just slipped. I'm not sure what that pitch was. And he throws a good sinking fastball that ran back in off the plate and then takes ball 4 down. So
Cooper to the mound, and now the game hanging in the balance here, very likely in the 7th inning if the Twins can get a productive at bat from Dozier. Escobar's at third, Suzuki's at second, and remember Buxton and his speed are at first. If Dozier were to hit a double, that could score Suzuki. Pretty good bet it would score Buxton too.
I think we could roll the dice and take the odds of who can cross first base from where they are faster.
Swing and a miss, infield in halfway.
You see the movement of that fastball from Petriska. Really has some good run to it. Comes back in on the right-handed hitters. Brian Dozier, really a good inside fastball hitter, but that just kept running and got in on him.
1 strike. 96 and a swinging strike 2.
Again, a tough pitch. It's hard to lay off of that. You throw it twice like that, you might as well triple up on it.
0-2 to Dozier. Between Gene Glenn on the line. Escobar started the inning with a single, went to second on a throwing error by Flowers. That's kind of a moot point now. Suzuki single, Buxton walked. They're loaded up, nobody out. Trichka from Faribault, Minnesota. 0-2 to Dozier.
Oh boy.
Backhanded by Flowers.
Sometimes catchers just know where it's going to be. It looked like Flowers was shifting in. They wanted to come back with that sinker down and in on Dozier, and he just really yanked it into the left-handed hitter's batter's box.
1-2. Got him. An off-speed pitch. Striking out Dozier, and that'll bring up Mauer. And it'll bring out Robin Ventura, who'll bring in a lefty. Dozier, the top RBI guys on the team, but Petrichkin gets him on an off-speed pitch. A pretty good spot. Fox track presented by Carrier.
Again, that's where you want to throw changeups. And the reason I say that to the young kids that might be listening is a hitter, a right-handed hitter, can hold his hands back and commit with his lower body, but his hands stay back and still drop the barrel of the bat on the ball inside.
Joe Mauer with 1 out, and the bases loaded. at the plate. And a base hit to right. Scored Kurt Suzuki. Tonight a different lefty. In another critical spot, Mauer will hit in the 7th with the bases loaded and 1 out against Dan Jennings.
As crazy as it is with the starting rotation, the White Sox only have right now 2 left-handers in the bullpen. Zach Duke took the loss in last night's game, and Dan Jennings, the only other lefty in the bullpen.
Actually had more success against righties than lefties. Jennings has faced Mauer 3 times this year. And Mauer is 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts against him. Big spot here for the Twins. They've had some scoring opportunities slip through their fingers. Bases were loaded with nobody out. Now 1 out. And he takes strike 1. Jennings, I think many people know, was property of the Florida Marlins. Their general manager at the time, his name was Dan Jennings, and he traded Dan Jennings to the White Sox. And then Dan Jennings was named the manager of the Marlins, and now the word comes out that he's not going to be the manager anymore. So there's been a lot of Dan Jennings in the news, but they're 2 different guys. 1 strike, and inside, nearly hit him. 1-1.
Yeah, he was the guy that fired our good friend the Red Dog.
Yep. And took his place, Mike Redmond. Has to be the first time, though, the general manager traded his namesake.
Maybe. Especially in the same year where he became the manager. I don't think that's happened twice.
1-1 to Mauer. And a high strike, and Joe didn't care for it. And he'll look back at Lance Barrett, but it's 1-2.
Look, Joe's reaction to me looked like he thought both those pitches were high. And that one's right on the upper edge of the strike zone.
One and 2. On and away, 2-2.
Let's see if Joe can work this count and get to 3-2, and that way the Twins might be able to put the runners in motion. You never know with only 1 out, but
Loof on deck. Two and 2 to Mauer. How do you take that pitch? You just had a high strike called on you, and you take one that's what, an inch low, maybe? 3-2.
Now it might be just on the inside part of the plate, but it is low. Probably would have caught the corner. And Joe is probably telling him he can't give them both, so now he is in a fastball hitter's count.
The count's full.
He's got to throw a strike. Bases are loaded.
Struck him out. Down and in. 2 away. And that'll get Robin Ventura out again. Jennings got his man. Petrichka struck out Dozier. Jennings has struck out Bauer. And if anything's to come in this 7th inning, it'll be up to Trevor Plouffe. Took the pitch before that, and that pitch dipping down and in.
Yeah, that one was worse than the one before it.
Another pitching change with the White Sox trying to keep this a 1-run game. second inning, the only run scored so far. Twins and the Angels will square off at Target Field September 17th through the 20th. Thursday night is a thirsty Thursday night featuring happy hour from 5:30 to 6:30, including deeply discounted beverages and appetizers at select Target Field locations. Saturday is a DQ Sensational Saturday. Sunday is Super America Knothole Kids Day. So please call 800-33-TWINS. Visit twinsbaseball.com if you want to catch some ball before the snow flies. Webb, the pitcher for the Chicago White Sox, coming in a key spot. He's seen Petrichka and Jennings get big strikeouts. The Twins still have the bases loaded, but now they're 2 down.
Webb pitched in last night's game, came in and put out the fire in the 8th inning after the Twins scored 3. He was able to record a couple strikeouts.
Trevor Plouffe 3 for 7 against Webb, including a home run earlier this year. Missing inside, ball 1. Trevor with a single in the 4th inning, sandwiched by an infield pop-up and a ground out. Inside again, 2-0. Malone is done, we know that. See if the Twins can pad a 1-0 lead here in the bottom of the 7th. Stroke to left, a base hit. Escobar will score. Suzuki behind him. Buxton right behind him. He's coming in. And Buxton is out at the plate with a head-first slide at home plate. And we'll see if Buxton is okay. That's a very dangerous play. He's up and appears to be fine, but Plouffe delivers a 2-run double, and it is now 3-0.
Great time for the double.
It's a reminder that the race for a wild card spot continues tomorrow with Twins Live at 11:30 a.m. A breakfast edition to get you ready for the series finale between the White Sox and the Twins, starting with Twins Live at 11:30 Thursday on Fox Sports North.
Trevor Plouffe with an awfully big 2-run double with 2 outs. Looked like the Twins were going to squander a scoring opportunity. Buxton from first base trying to score, and just glad that he's okay. I guess the slide was the back end of the batter's box, but boy, you go and hit first with those catchers and the shin guards. Oh,
I'm not really sure that Tyler Flowers gave him much of a lane there. His shin guard was blocking home plate, and you're supposed to give that base runner part of the plate anyway. I don't know. I mean, That first angle showed that his whole shin guard and whole left leg was blocking the plate.
Trevor May, the 8th inning guy for the Twins, delivers a fastball up high. Adam Eaton is going to hit. Looks like Buxton's got a little bloody nose there.
And he got bumped a little.
Eaton swings and misses. The regular backup catcher Soto is the designated hitter, so we would guess that the White Sox will bring their extra catcher after the September call-ups. 1-1 to Eaton. Had a 4-hit night last night, tying a career high, and it's 1-2. May had another scoreless inning last night. He had to pitch around a double within the inning, but it was another good inning for Trevor May. Kept going upstairs. Eaton kept swinging and missing. 1 away.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority the Minnesota Twins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent of the Minnesota Twins, LLC.
Brantley will hit for Beckham.
Rob Brantley. See the numbers for him.
The fastball in the zone, 96 miles per hour.
And Trevor May looks like he's got his velocity again tonight.
And 95 upstairs.
And he's just coming after him. He's got 3 runs to work with, so they can't hit a 3-run home run when nobody's on base. You might as well throw it over. I like that philosophy.
Piece upstairs at 96. Breaking ball on the outside corner.
That's not fair.
He had no chance. Trying to catch up to mid-90s heat, and then May, first curveball he's thrown in his outing, he drops it right on the outside corner.
Yeah, on the block, knee high. Yeah, that's not fair. Don't worry about it, Rob.
2 down, and now Saladino. Just off the plate, ball 1. What kind of odds would you have gotten last year, Jack Morris, watching Trevor May struggle to throw strikes as a starter? And it got better toward the end last year than the beginning part. Here's a fly to right center field. Hunter wants it. And that ends it. May gets off the field awfully quickly, just throwing a total of 10 pitches.
Something we've struggled with in the past, as you know, and I feel like we got over that hump. We've been playing really well at home, and to be a contending team and get in the playoffs, that kind of thing, and to be going good, you got to win at home, and that's the bottom line. And we're doing that this year, and I think the fans enjoy it when you're winning at home and everything. They come out to see you win. You give them what they want, and so it's been good so far. But we still got a long way to go, and right in the thick of things, it's a lot of fun though.
Brian Dozier with our Medica sounds of the game. The Twins continue to sparkle at home. Up 3-0 here in the bottom of the 8th. Stay with us directly after the game for Twins Live, presented by CenturyLink. We'll take a look at Miguel Sano continuing the power surge. Another big home run tonight. If you missed it, it was a beauty. You're going to want to see it again. Also, Tommy Milone, spectacular. 7 shutout innings tonight. We'll have Jack Morris and Roy Smalley react to that great start, and we'll also take you inside the clubhouse here from Paul Molitor, get his reaction to Tommy Milone, and set up game number 3, which is tomorrow afternoon, and we'll be on our airwaves, guys.
All right, thank you very much, Kevin. 3-0 lead. Frankie Montas will come into the ball game for the White Sox, and he will face Sano, Hunter, and Rosario. Defensive changes for the White Sox. We'll get you up to speed with those. Ball 1 to Sano. Took a pitch and then hammered a home run to straightaway center field back in the 2nd inning. Grounded into a double play in the 4th and then drew a walk in the 6th. 97 miles per hour. Swing and a foul, 1-1. Again, if you just joined us, Sano, the August American League Rookie of the Month.
Well, this is one pitch that Miguel Sano hasn't seen a lot of, and that Roy Smalley is talking about, that high fastball when it starts getting up there in clicks in the high 90s. And whether he can handle that, because if he handles that, he can handle anything.
2-2. And now 3-2.
And again, we talked last night, just before he hit the home run, about his discipline. That ball is so tempting for most guys. Right there at letters, fastball, and he doesn't chase it up in the zone.
Breaking ball got him. So Montas did to Sano what May did to Brantley. Look at Fox Vision and Sano's blast to center field.
Yeah, it leaves his bat at 103 miles an hour, and it travels a long way. Here's the track of the ball as it hits the batter's eye out there in straightaway center field, 439 feet.
That's where it hit.
Yeah. It would have rolled another 150 had we been playing in the fields that I started all in.
1-0 to Hunter. Base hit his last time up. On the ground. 2 hops. Skipping to Sanchez. 2 down. And they'll bring up Rosario. Soup.com trivia. Who's the only Twins player to be named AL Rookie of the Month twice in the season. I don't know that they had it in 64 and 67 when Oliva and Carew had their season. I'm going to go Nabi in 91. Francisco Liriano in 06.
Yeah, how about that? It is another pitcher.
June and July, back-to-back months. Now,
we weren't thinking about that.
You brought up an interesting point. We talked about Dallas Keuchel winning the award 3 times for the Astros this year, but in a way you one up that with what you guys did in 91.
Well, in a way we did. I mean, it's impressive. We're not taking anything away from Dallas Keuchel to win that award half the year, basically 3 out of the 6 months. But Kevin Tapani won it 1 month for the Twins in 91, then Scott Erickson won it 1 month, and I won it 1 month. So our starting rotation, basically our 1, 2, 3 guys, all were pitcher of the month that year.
Glenn Perkins, but Kevin Jepson warming up for an apparent appearance in the 9th inning. 1-1 to Rosario. To left, and it's hanging in the air for Cabrera. And a 1-2-3, bottom of the 8th. Kevin Jepson will try to pin it down for the Twins when we come back. Trevor Plouffe driving in 2 big runs in the 7th inning. This homestand started with the Twins winning 3-0 over the Astros, and they'll hope to clinch a series win against the White Sox with a 3-0 win tonight, and it'll be Kevin Jepsen who will try to get the save for the Twins.
Yeah, Jepsen's given another opportunity to pick up a save. He has been given a chance a few times with Glenn Perkins having a few ailments out in the bullpen, and he's been very good. Came over and had a tough go his very first game with the Twins, but he has been lights out since.
Perkins gave up a run on 3 singles last night. Terry Ryan saying before the game today that Perkins has got some back stiffness yet, and so it's Jepsen. But it really underscores the job Tommy Milone did of the Twins bullpen. The late inning staff, if they were a man short, they needed Milone to do a good job here tonight, and he went not 6 innings but 7. May the 8th, and now Jepsen the 9th. And strike 1 is the call. Cabrera, Abreu, and Garcia due up here in Chicago's 9th inning.
Yeah, I can't say enough about Tommy Milone's effort tonight. Outstanding 3-hit, 7-inning shutout baseball.
Tap to the right side. Mauer goes for the grounder. Jepsen to the bag. 1 away. 1 down. Quick turnaround with Jeff Samardzija and Kyle Gibson facing each other in the series finale. What's next? Brought to you by CenturyLink. Samardzija's really struggled as of late. Second half for the White Sox, and Gibson showing some encouraging signs lately.
A couple 6'6" right-handers towing the rubber against each other tomorrow.
So we'll be talking a lot about downward plane tomorrow,
yeah,
I'm guessing.
Absolutely.
Okay, 1 down. Here's Abreu.
We're not talking about a plane crash either.
We better not. We're hopping on one to Houston after the game tomorrow.
Yeah, let's just hope we have pace of game similar tomorrow.
Fouled away, 1 strike.
By the way, it was good to see Kevin Jepsen cover first and get over there. I was kind of picking on Glenn Perkins last night because I remember so many times whenever that happened when I was playing, the next day the pitchers would have pitchers fielding practice. And I came out today early like I normally do at home games, and pitchers didn't have to take any ground balls. So apparently Neil Allen's being very kind to the boys.
High fastball and a swing and a miss. I think the reaction among some, at least, in the Twins fan base when the Twins acquired Kevin Jepsen, maybe a stifled yawn. It was not a big name acquisition, but where would the Twins be without his acquisition, given in light of what has happened to Glenn Perkins, a veteran guy who's got some closing experience, and on that last road trip where the Twins reemerged as a playoff contender, it was Jepsen who really grabbed the rope and said, let's go.
Well, it's been a few years since he's been given an opportunity to close and get save opportunities, and I think that inspired him a little bit. He's got the velocity. Terry Ryan talked about that when they acquired him. He still can touch the mid-90s, and he's got a good breaking ball. It's about his command.
Swing and a miss. Abreu tagged out. 2 quick outs here in the 9th.
And that was just smart pitching there. Abreu was being aggressive, and for the second time he strikes out on balls that are out of the strike zone tonight.
And now Garcia, and if Jepsen gets him, 6 of the 9 innings tonight pitched by the Twins will be 1, 2, 3 innings. Nice job by Suzuki. Twins trying to go to 11-4 against the White Sox this year. Up just a little bit. Ball 1. The White Sox had a hard time making contact with Malone's high fastball at 87.
Yeah,
they're not going to catch up with Jepson's 95.
Twins have done a real good job of changing that eye level.
1-1. 1-2.
Well, twice now he's not able to catch up with that high heater. You might as well run it up another inch higher, see if he'll chase.
Foul to the screen.
Interesting right there, that last swing. He made contact with it. So as a pitcher, are you intimidated by that, saying, okay, he's catching up, I've got to throw something different? Or you just say, you know what, he still hasn't hit the ball. What do you do? One pitch to try to strike him out.
Breaking ball, tap foul.
So you throw the breaking ball, and he pulls that foul. And it was a good pitch in a good location. And now what do you do? I think there's always times in a ball game where pitchers have several options. It's kind of whatever you're throwing down there for the number. When you're thinking about your catcher, I'll throw it. I'll hit it. I'll hit your glove.
1-2 to Garcia. Punch to center field. Buxton comes in. A 3-0 shutout for win number 69.
Well, what a great job by the Twins tonight. The Twins are now just a half a game as we stand. Texas still playing out on the West Coast. And Tommy Milone, 7 shutout innings, did a great job with the bullpen with Trevor May and Kevin Jepson do their job. The big man, Miguel Sano, with the home run to get the Twins on the board early, and then a clutch hit by Trevor Plouffe gives them a little bit of breathing room. Solid game, solid effort, solid win.
And Anthony LaPanta tomorrow, the Twins have a chance to not only sweep the White Sox, but pick up their 70th win of the year, their entire total of wins in the 2014 season.
It's been a remarkable turnaround for the Twins, no doubt. It's also been an amazing power surge for Miguel Sano. We'll try to put it into words again. We'll look at Tommy Malone's masterful performance on the mound. Here for Paul Molitor, all coming up on Twins Live.